Town started over 100 years ago to provide a safe place for kids to learn and grow. Well, today, it's one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the United States. Keeping kids safe continues to be at the core of everything that they do. In fact, last year alone, Boys Town services impacted more than 650,000 children nationwide.
That's incredible. From research-proven youth care services to parenting to school resources, Boys Town is making a life-changing difference.
Joining us today are Rashawn Carrier-Williams, the Executive Director of Boys Town, Louisiana.
And a family whose lives have been directly impacted by Boys Town, Joni Wheeler and her son Isaiah. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Nice to be here.
Look, Rashawn, I mean, one of the things I read about is the fact that you have a 24-hour hotline, and over the course of the last year, over 110,000 calls that you guys had to service, right?
Exactly.
It's crazy. Why don't you just tell everybody a little bit more about the services that Boys Town provides? And also, I have a silly question. I'm looking over here and I see two little girls. So people need to understand that this is not just Boys Town, this is family services, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So you mentioned the hotline. Parents and teens can call 24/7 if they're having any trouble at home, be it disruptive behaviors or if they're having runaway behaviors or even suicide ideation. But we're much more than that. Father Flanagan started our program in 1917 as a safe haven for boys. But to your point, we have expanded much more than that, where we service boys and girls in a lot of different programs and services. We even start as young as preschool age. We're working with families, helping to link them to nutrition and mental health services. We also provide services in the school system. So we provide educational support for kids who are disruptive in the classroom or experiencing absenteeism. And then we also have a host of services for families to provide resources and supports within their community.
That's so great. The earlier the better.
It is. Isaiah, let me turn to you. There was a time that your mother turned to Boys Town. Tell us what happened.
Going into middle school, about 6th, 7th grade.
The tough years.
I got into the wrong crowd. I started to act up in school a little bit. Ended up trying to kind of snowballing, and it ended up me sneaking out, and ended up me engaging in some recreational activities that aren't the best. However, just over time, my mom started to notice the flaws that were going on and the things that were going on in my life, and then she decided to kind of take action and look into Boys Town at that point. So,
And Joni, that's why you reached out for help, right?
That's right. That's right. You know, Isaiah, he was a just charismatic little guy, always, helped the underdog. He excelled at many things. Learning was a little tougher for him, and that's where I saw that frustration start, kind of in the school system. And by the time he got to middle school, he's a little bit more behind. You got your peers, right? And just all that builds up, and he really did start acting out, and those temptations just became almost more inviting for him. A parent not knowing where their 12, 13-year-old is, in the middle of the night, that's tough. And so, yes, I sought after Boys Town because I had started traveling more as well. I'm gonna choose my family over my job any day, but just hearing about all the great programs that Boys Town has, I felt like the residential program would be what our family needed to really help Isaiah just get back on the right track.
Great stuff. So let's segue to programs. What programs does Boys Town offer?
So as I mentioned before, we have a holistic approach to working with our families. We provide services to youth not only in our residential programming, but a lot of our work is done outside of that program. So we're going into the home, we're helping families reach their goals, and we want our kids to be successful. Our programs are evidence-based. There's a lot of research behind our programming from the 106 years that we've been working with children and families. Not only are we working with youth in the homes, we also have a national research hospital. We also provide behavioral health services for our families as well.
Nice.
Clearly Boys Town changed your trajectory. So, think back on it. Let's start with you, Isaiah. How did it change you and your family dynamic? And then, Joni, I want you to tell us as a parent how it changed your family dynamic.
Sure.
Why'd you start?
The journey of Boys Town, at first it started off rocky because being a youth, you don't really have the big picture in mind. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, she sent me here because
She sent me to prison.
She sent me away, is what I'm thinking. But really over time, as I kind of, in quotations, faked it till I made it, eventually it turned real. And then once it turned real, it really started to kind of bond me and my mother together. The time that we would spend together really kind of meant a lot more to me. And then over time, it just, over time, we just became closer and closer, and it became a more of a bonding experience at the end, towards the end, yeah.
Joni, like a lot of parents out there may be thinking, it might not work for me, but how did it work? How did you see the dynamic? You saw Isaiah growing up, right?
Right.
You noticed that he was starting to embrace the discipline that he was learning.
Yes.
So then how did it affect you?
Before Boys Town, I really thought I might lose my son. to the streets, to these other kids. And I've seen how these kids have ended up not having a solution like Boys Town, and I was afraid. I was afraid for him, I was afraid for us, and I'll tell a story that he ran away twice at Boys Town, so he said, yeah, I'm gonna fake it till I make it, and the second time he ran away, I went to the house to meet with him and the family teachers, and he said, Mom, please just take me home. We can do this at home. And I said, son, your only path to home is to finish this program. And then I left him there, went in my car and just bawled like a baby. And the family teachers called me that night and said, your son came downstairs after a couple hours and he got to work. And for the next, as long as he was in there, he worked his tail off for the right reasons to get home. And our relationship, it just really cemented through that process.
This is so powerful. I swear, I think I'm going to start bawling here. What a story. Rashawn, tips and tools for maybe a family out there that's dealing with challenging times like this?
One thing that we always stress in our program is catch them being good, right? A lot of times our kids are getting into a lot of trouble, they're exhibiting a lot of disruptive behavior, so we tend to focus on the negative, right? But as parents or as caretakers, we need to start looking at the positive within our children. So we have something called the 4-to-1 ratio. So for every negative behavior, we want to have 4 positive things that we want to give to our children.
And that's what these bands represent?
Exactly. So one band would be every time I criticize my youth, I want to praise them 4 times. So this is like a visual reminder for the 4-to-1 ratio.
And then this one says teach love.
Teach love, exactly. That's one of our...
absolutely beautiful. And I love this sticker, 10 ways to praise your kids.
Yes, that's a magnet that we have as well, that we, just to remind us, again, we just focus so much on the negative. We want our kids to know that we see the good and that we want to emphasize the good and we want to see more of that good.
Really important to do.
Peyton, come pick up your things. We talked about this.
Sorry.
Pick up your stuff so people don't trip and fall. Thank you for listening. Now the house looks so much better and people can walk through. Nice, you're working on your homework. I know I could count on you to get your homework started.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, you rock. Way to go, your room looks beautiful.
And Isaiah, you're a father now yourself, so there were tools that you learned in Boys Town that are helping you as a father, right?
Correct, yeah. Going through Boys Town, there's a ton of different skills that they try to help you learn, and through that, I mean, I've picked up so many different things. I can rattle them off for you right now, but moving into fatherhood, I feel like I just am better prepared for if my son were to go through the same things I went through. And at the end of the day, I feel like I would be able to kind of guide him in the right areas and try to teach him the right skills in order to be more of a productive member of society.
But you probably have the tools that might stop him from veering that way.
Exactly. And that's my main goal, is to make it so that he doesn't even have to go through what I went through. However, if it does happen, I feel prepared to take action.
And Jonah, you're now a national board member for Boys Town, right?
Correct. The experience and just watching him being a dad, it changed our lives. It changed our family. I believe it saved our family. And so when I had the opportunity just a couple of years ago to join the national board, I jumped at it as an opportunity to really pay our experience forward, and just seeing all the inner workings of Boys Town, through the board's eyes, it's amazing.
Pay it forward, huh? What? You're gonna make me cry.
I am. One more question. Have you taken the time to look him in the face and tell him how much it's meant to you? Look him in the face now and tell him.
I love you, son, and
I love you too, Mom.
I love the dad you've become.
Thank
I
you.
love the man you've become, and I love where our family is right now.
Thank you.
What a
you.
fortunate family I see here. God bless you for being such a tremendous mother. And you, good luck to you and your son, and
Thank you.
amen.
And
Amen.
you keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. America needs you.
So for our viewers out there who'd like more information, where can they go?
They can go to boystown.org and parenting.org. For a limited time, they can go online to get these free praiselets as a visual reminder to teach love and to do the 4-to-1 ratio at boystown.org/balancing act.
Oh, that's
Wow,
fantastic
that's
for a
great.
limited time.
Limited time.
So let's make sure they do that. Thanks again for everything.
You're welcome.
And if you want more information, you can always go to our website, thebalancingact.com. We'll be back right after this.
Here, I'll give you one because I'm going to praise you.
Oh, thank you.